So let's put our palms together. Let's compose ourselves. Let's say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinnadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Ame sumiccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majja pamadatana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Imani panca sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani panca sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani panca sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, any questions from last week's discussion? Okay, if not, then we'll just continue. So, okay, now you know that they forecasted that the Buddha, that Prince Siddhartha will either become a universal monarch or the Buddha. He either becomes a very great ruler. Universal monarch means a ruler like Ashoka and all those things, very powerful ruler. Or he may just give up everything to become the Samma Sambuddha. Of course, in the eyes of a father who's a warrior, in the eyes of a warrior father and a ruler, prefers his son to be a ruler and be a great king, of course, That's why the Buddha was trained with horse riding, with archery, and then with very good education. Very good. He learned a lot of skills, a lot of fighting skills and all those things. He excelled in all those things. He excelled in all those things. And of course, the Buddha, the father was would be more happy if the Buddha can actually be a ruler. He was very concerned. He will suddenly decide to renounce his kingdom, all pochi, So, of course, he was very concerned. So, at the very ripe age of 16, those days, they got married early. At the very ripe age of 16, he quickly got Siddhartha to marry with Princess Yashodhara. Okay? And who is Princess Yashodhara? Briefly, you know that the Sakya clan are like that. Okay. Let me see where I can tell you. Okay. So the second clan, of course, they start with Jayasena. Then Jayasena has a son called Sihahanu, and of course a daughter Yashodhara. Yashodhara is not. This is not the princess that the Buddha married. This is just the lineage lah. You know, it just to give you an idea lah. This is the biological lineage of the father's side lah. So of course the father is King Suddhodana, who is actually King Suddhodana married Queen Mahamaya. Okay, and then he has got his son called Siddhartha. Okay, so King Suddhodana and Queen Mahamaya had only one son called Siddhartha. Okay, and then later when Mahamaya died, then he married Mahamaya's sister called Prajapati, and they have got a son called Nanda and a daughter called Sundari Nanda. Okay, so of course then this lineage of King Suddhodana here, it shows that Siddhartha married Yashodhara. This Yashodhara is they are related, you know. They are all from the same lineage now, so though they are related actually. So Yashodhara is this Yashodhara who has a brother called Devadatta. Yeah, Devadatta and Yashodhara, they are siblings, okay? So this Yashodhara actually is this Yashodhara. They married Siddhartha and got a son called Rahula. Okay, so this one is just for you to know. It doesn't help you spiritually, don't worry. Just have to know, that's all. If you don't remember, also it's not very important. Okay, even if you're not sure, it's not important. All these things are just one day when you understand the life of the Buddha, you will know why the Buddha does certain things and why all those things. Okay, so this is the biological lineage of his father. Okay, on the mother's side is here. Mother's side is Mahamaya is here. So mother's side, mother is a Kolia. Okay, last time there were two kind of warring clan, the Sakyan and the Kolias. Okay, the Sakyan and the Kolias. This is actually always fighting also lah. Unfortunately, fighting also lah. Okay, so in order not to fight too much, they got married lah. Son and daughter got married from the other party so that they can live peacefully, so mother's side, mother is a Kolia. And then the mother has got again here also, there are two children, and then they have got this Mahamaya, okay? Mahamaya is the one who married King Suddhodana, okay? King Suddhodana married this Mahamaya, and then Siddhartha, got Siddhartha as a son. And then Mahamaya has a sister called Prajapati. Mahamaya's lineage got Dandapani. The Dandapani is, you hear a lot of stories about him also later. Super Buddha, Super Buddha, Dandapani, Mahamaya, Prajapati. But most of the time we focus on Mahamaya and Prajapati because these are the two very prominent leaders, figures in the history of Buddhism. Correct? And then of course they got Nanda. So, okay, this is again repeated in the father's biological lineage. Where Prajapati married King Suddhodana and then got Nanda and Sundari Nanda. Okay, so this is just to give you an idea how they are related. Okay, then after he was married at the age of 16, 16. So he left home at the age of 29, remember? So that means 13 years, 13 years or 12 years, they don't have children. Okay. So for 12 years, they don't have children, and then the Buddha was living very luxuriously. Living very luxuriously in the palace. He's got his winter palace, summer palace, spring palace, so all different places, and then they are full of entertainment for him. The father is afraid that he will be distracted. And once he's distracted, he might renounce, because as we predicted that he will also become a Buddha or a great universal monarch, remember? So, okay, so now talking about He lived in the palace with his wife, very happily married at the age of 16 until the age of 26, correct? Almost 10 years lah, isn't it? 18 to 29, okay? So 13 years he was living very, very peacefully. And then his palace was full of luxuries for him, lah, so that he doesn't see all these sufferings, They don't want to tell him all the sad stories of life, lah. They only want him to focus on his pleasures only, lah. Give me a minute, please. Okay. So now one day, okay, this is only the story, but some people don't accept the story anymore because of the Mahapadana Sutta. People don't agree, but never mind all these things. It doesn't help you in your spiritual cultivation. Idea of Buddhism is to cultivate ourselves spiritually. So there are controversies with stories nowadays, but I will stick to these stories which were already with us for very many years and authenticated by the Buddha Vangsa, authenticated by a lot of scholars also lah. Now new scholars are saying something else. I don't want to argue with them lah. Okay, so now one day the Buddha decided that the book says that he decided that he should go out one day. Does not mean he has never gone out lah. Does not mean that Buddha has not seen an old man lah. Now the four sights: an old man, a sick man, a dead man, and an ascetic. Now, at the age of 29, it is rather difficult to tell people that the Buddha haven't seen an old man lah. Correct? It is difficult to say that he has not seen a sick man lah. Correct? It is also almost impossible to say that he has not seen a dead man lah. Correct? And he has not seen an ascetic. Because ascetic he was born during the time where a lot of people became ascetic. Remember the Sramana period, So it is impossible to say that the Buddha had not seen this foresight, and when he saw the first time the foresight, then he decided to renounce. It is quite difficult lah. So what? Okay, well, let's look at my notes. What did I write? So the four sights are one: an old man, a sick man, a dead man, and an ascetic looking calm and serene. Okay, ascetic. Okay, so the first three sights convincingly prove to him the inexorable nature of life. Can you read this? Can you make it bigger? Okay, the first three sights convincingly prove to him the inexorable nature of life and the universal ailment of humanity. Why do I, being subject to birth, decay, disease, death, sorrow, and impurities, thus search after things of like nature? Realizing the worthlessness of sensual pleasure, so highly prized by the worldlings, and appreciating the values of renunciation in which the wise seek delight, he decided to leave the home in search of truth and eternal peace. The fourth sight signified the means to overcome the ills of life and to attain calm and peace, urged him to join the Samana movement. Okay, if you are familiar with those Sramanas, Sramanas is actually in Sanskrit. Okay, we use it, Pali is Samana or Sramana. Okay, Sramana is in Pali, in Sanskrit, Sama is in Pali. Okay. So during the time of the Buddha, when he was born, there was this Sramana movement. We have covered that during our lesson last week. Sramana movement was very active. People all living to go to the forest, to meditate, to find the truth, because they begin to doubt the teachings of the Vedas and also the Brahmanic teachings. They begin to doubt the Vedas and the Brahmanic teachers. Okay, the Brahmins during those time. So he decided to join. Samana movement began around 800 to 600 BC when the new philosophical group who believe in a more austere path to spiritual freedom, rejected the authority of the Brahmins, the Brahmanic priests. Okay, so they practice a lot of austere path. That means a lot of self-mortification. Huh? Okay, now coming back to these four sites. Do you think the Buddha at the age, do you think Prince Siddhartha at the age of 29 have not seen an old man? Correct? His father was old. Do you think he has never seen a sick man? He has not fallen sick for 29 years? Right? Do you think he has not come across somebody who passed away? And then Shamanic movement was all very, very, very rampant those days. A lot of people to the town to beg for alms. Do you think he has not come across them? So definitely he has lah. So what we will say that these four sites are actually, when he saw these four sites, we will say that he saw this in tandem, He saw an old man when he went out one day with Channa. Channa was his charioteer. You can see here with the charioteer. He saw an old man, following which there was a sick man, So in tandem, slowly he saw an old man, then he saw a sick man, and then he suddenly saw a funeral pyre passing, pyre passing by, and then said, "Oi!" He saw a dead man. Then he saw an ascetic. So all this happens actually in a sequence lah. That was when he triggered. That was when he was triggered to renounce. It's not that he has not seen an old man before. He has seen many old men, but didn't trigger him because he didn't see them in this sequence, So eventually, when he saw this in this sequence, this is one of the theories lah. Saw an old man, then he saw a sick man beside there, then he saw a dead man, then he put this all together, and then see, we say the first three sides convincingly prove to him the inexorable nature of life, right? The universal ailment of humanity. So he asked himself, why I, being subject to birth, decay, disease, death, sorrow, impurity. So he wants to search the medicine to overcome this ailment. And then again, on top of this, remember, he just got a baby. Look at the newborn baby, so loving, so beautiful, so innocent. He's also subject to birth. Was born. This baby is subject to old age. This baby one day will fall sick, and this beautiful, innocent-looking baby will also die one day. So all these came to his mind now, all this came to his mind. Then he looked at his beautiful wife, so faithful, so nice, so pretty. Also one day will grow old, will fall sick, and will die. So because of this kind of inexorable nature of life that he realized, correct? Then he wanted to find the solution. He wanted the solution whereby we can overcome this suffering of birth, old age, disease, and okay. So that's why he left. He renounced. Not that he did not care for his wife or his baby, because for the love of his wife and the baby and the love for humanity, he renounced. So these four sides triggered him to renounce. Okay. Okay. Any question from there? Then here he says that when he left at night, he did not just leave them like that lah. He went to see them, took a dispassionate glance on his wife and the child who was fast asleep. Very, very, very painful parting. Don't say that he is not responsible. It was a very painful parting. Not all of us can do this. Correct? You need to be strong. You need to have that firm conviction. You need to have that kind of passion to overcome this suffering. No, don't say, so she opening the door of the chamber. he stood on the threshold and cast his dispassionate glance on his wife and the child were fast asleep. Like I said, these are the innocent child there, just born, will be subjected to old age, will be subjected to disease, and subjected to death. So he cannot take it anymore. He has to find the solution. Okay, so he left home to find the solution. What was his purpose? Leaving home to find the solution to overcome the suffering of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Okay? So great was his compassion for the two dear ones at the parting moment. Greater was his compassion for suffering of humanity. Correct? So you know how he felt that night. I don't say that he suka-suka leave home only lah. He did not abandon his family. Great was his compassion for the two dear ones at the parting moment. Greater was his compassion for suffering humanity. Okay? He was not worried about the future and worldly happiness and comfort of his mother and child, as they had everything in abundance and were well protected. Don't forget, she was a princess in a nice kingdom, in a nice palace, and Rahula was also a prince. Okay? So in terms of their worldly happiness, comfort, and need, they were all well protected. Okay? So that's why he can leave them. It was not that he loved them less, but he loved humanity more. Okay? So remember this part, it's not an easy parting. Like I've said, not all of us can do that. Not all of us. Yeah, it takes a great person to do that. Then when he left, then the homeless life begins. Okay? Homeless life begins with a simple ceremony of returning all his belongings, all those jewelry that he was wearing. He returned all these to Channa. He told Channa, take back all these and return to my father. That was the tradition then. And they returned all these all these heirlooms, you may call them, to the father again, to the family lah. The names you have to remember here is, if you want to remember, don't worry, I also don't forget the names lah. Charioteer is called Channa. The horse is named Kantaka. And then he went to river. Some people didn't agree that the river is called Anoma. It's Neranjara. Neranjara. River is Ra because river is a female. In the Pali language, river is female. Therefore, this will be actually A with the long with the dash on top lah. No need to change lah. Okay. And then the few things you have to remember here lah. River Anoma, sometimes people call river Neranjara as river Anoma, okay? But some say, no, it's not called Anoma, brother. It's called Neranjara. Okay, now you remember this, Neranjara, river Neranjara. That's where he went there with the charioteer. This man is called Channa, who also came with his disciple later, but very arrogant disciple. He became very arrogant. And this horse eventually was so sad that the master no more there. The horse also died out of sadness. Okay. Charioteer, the horse Kantaka died. Charioteer Channa became his disciple. And he was quite arrogant. There are stories about him. You can read up later. And the horse died. Okay. And the river is called Neranjara. And then the place is called Uruela in Magadha. Okay. In Magadha. That is okay. Never mind that part. The controversial part. Okay. So this is our story. Whether we will agree or not, this is the story that we based. So he left this, and then what do I have here? So when he renounced himself, then this is King Bimbisara. King Bimbisara, when he heard, why did this young, handsome, able, prince suddenly became an ascetic lah? So he concluded maybe because this father and son must have quarreled lah. He must have quarreled with his father lah. And then Marajo already left home lah. So King Bimbisara was very kind. He became his big benefactor. King Bimbisara was one of the biggest benefactor. Without him, the Buddha's life will not be so easy. As when he was seeking his enlightenment, and also when he was preaching So King Bimbisara was the mentor So King Bimbisara was very concerned about this young Prince Siddhartha who became a renunciate. Offered him half his kingdom. He said, you take half of Magadha and rule. No need to go back to your Sakya there. No need to go back to Kapilavatthu. Take half of my kingdom. You rule half, I rule half. But the Buddha did not accept it. The Buddha says, no, I bukan merajuk. I really want to find the truth. I really want to find the solution to overcome suffering. Bukan merajuk. Then King Bimbisara told him, okay, make me some promises Okay. So offered half his kingdom of Magadha to Prince Siddhartha. Prince Siddhartha said, no. The ascetic Gautama to promise. He told me, okay, if you are serious about becoming the Buddha, about finding the truth, promise me one thing, okay? Make the ascetic Gautama to promise to return to Rajagaha to preach the sermon to him in person when he was enlightened. So he said, okay, you go and seek the solution to all this to overcome suffering. But when you have found the solution, promise me you come to my kingdom and teach me personally. I want my fifth wish to be fulfilled. I want to be taught by the Buddha. Okay. So King Bimbisara had 5 wishes. These are all extra stories, but they will carry meaning later. You can dissect it. So first wish was to become the king of Magadha. When he was young, he says, I wish one day I become the king. Then his father, of course, it passed away. He inherited the throne, so he became the king. First wish was fulfilled. Second wish was that he said the enlightened, he hoped that the fully enlightened one, whoever is enlightened, should visit his country. He wants his country to be blessed. That was his second wish, okay? His third wish was that he should associate with such an enlightened one, okay? He wants to be a friend and to be a benefactor of the enlightened one. Fourth wish was that enlightened one to preach the doctrine to him in person. He wants to learn it directly from the enlightened one. So he made Buddha promise him, made Prince Siddhartha promise this. Then fifth wish was that he should understand the doctrine. He says then he hoped that he can understand the doctrine. That was his 5 wishes, okay? And then his wishes are all fulfilled. When the Buddha visited him later, that was fulfilled, okay? Now all these 5 wishes were fulfilled when Buddha visited Rajagaha and preached the Dhamma to King Bimbisara, who became a Sotapanna. Okay? Now, King Bimbisara is also known for what, Now we are talking, okay, let us just divert a bit. Now we are talking about Chigwe, isn't it? Correct? So when we talk about Chigwe, we chanted the Tirukuda Sutta, and Tirukuda Sutta involves King Bimbisara. Okay? The Tirukuda Sutta saying that King Bimbisara one day gave dana to the Buddha. Read the Tirukuda Sutta. Okay, so gave dana to the Buddha, and then, but he forgot to dedicate this merit to his relatives, because he was so interested in building the new place for the Buddha to stay and all that, he forgot, So at night, his palace became in short So he hear a lot of voices, a lot of wailing at night, a lot of screaming, a lot of crying, So he was scared Next day, he went to see the Buddha, asked the Buddha, hey, what happened? I gave you dana in a day, at night, my whole palace became haunted, Then the Buddha says, yes, these are your past relatives. These are your past relatives for 92 eons ago, The story is very long, I'm not going to touch on the story, but basically, from a nutshell, the story is, this was during the time of Vipassana Buddha, I think, okay? Then there's a group of officials who were supposed to send dana to the monks and the Buddha then, but they instead squandered all these things that they didn't deliver. That's why they're all born in hell. They were all born in Avicii hell. Okay? Then there was 92 eons away, so many Buddhas lifetime. Then after that, at the point of the previous Buddha, before Gautama Buddha, our Buddha, then this Buddha, then luckily for this bunch of people, they were upgraded lah, they promoted lah. From Avicii hell, they became hungry ghosts. And then they were lucky they met the Buddha. Then they asked the Buddha, how long more we gonna suffer like that? So the Buddha before our Buddha, not this Buddha, so told him that after my time, there will be one Buddha called the Gautama Buddha, our Buddha now. Okay? And there will be a king called Bimbisara, which is one of your relatives. King Bimbisara is one of your relatives, and he will offer dana and dedicate merits to you all, and you all will be relieved from this suffering. So offering dana is actually in our sutta, and that is in the Tirukuda Sutta. That was the first time whereby the Buddha taught people how to transfer merits to your departed ones. Okay, that is in the Tirukuda Sutta. Okay, so if you read on the Tirukuda Sutta, you will find that lah. So then the Buddha told King Bimbisara, so this king, that you did not transfer merit, so that's why all your relatives were so disappointed lah, and like they all crying lah. So he said, okay, then I will offer you dana tomorrow, and then this time I will offer this, I will dedicate this merit to you. Okay, so the Buddha came again to have dana there, and King Bimbisara says, give him a glass of water and say, I give you this glass of water, and I dedicate these merits to all my past relatives. Okay, and immediately, the Buddha gave him certain psychic power where he can see lah. The Buddha gave King Bimbisara some power to see. He could see all his suddenly his relatives all in dirty clothes for 92 eons, billions of years, never bathed, never no chance to eat, all in a suffering state. Suddenly in front of them, pools, magic pool came up, pool of lotuses and very clear water. Wow, the relatives were so happy lah. You see? And then they bathe there, they wash themselves, they wash up. For 92 eons, they have never washed up before. So they were washing up. So the glass of water is very powerful lah. So they offered to the Buddha. Immediately one pond appeared and all the relatives were bathing there. And then the king offered the robes to the Buddha. Then immediately after washing up, all the relatives all wore beautiful clothes, became devas. Beautiful clothes. So then after that, King Bimbisara offered food to the Mahasangha, Buddha and the Mahasangha. Wow, suddenly all the relatives got a lot of food to eat. For the first time in 92 years, they took their bath, they wore beautiful clothes, and they ate. Okay? And this is how dana works lah. And this is the very first time the Buddha promoted dana, and it is in the Tirukuda Sutta, which many of you all did not learn lah. So Devi did not learn Tirukuda. Some of you all did not learn. Okay? So that is the meaning of Tirukuda Sutta. And the king involved is this king. This king was a great benefactor of the Buddha. Okay, he built a big monastery for the Buddha and all his entourage to stay lah. Okay, so this is called King Bimbisara. So any question up to this point, or any point that you are not clear, you may not agree lah. Good. Any questions? Or am I going too fast? No, Okay, so we continue, okay? Okay. So, okay, Magada, okay, just an idea lah. Just tell you the idea only lah. Don't have to remember this, don't memorize all this lah. Okay, so let me just make it smaller again. Okay, the time of the Buddha, actually when we talk about India in those days, it's only talk about northern India, not southern India. It does not include like this. Only India from this part only, Pakistan, Cambodia, they call it last time lah. The Gandhara, the Pakistan, Afghanistan, and all that lah. Okay, and the Ghostan countries all in Russia lah. So India is consisting of this northern India those days, and then those days they were divided into 16 Mahajanapadas, okay? That means into 16 kind of countries lah. Those days they got 16 kind of states or countries, you may call them lah. And all these are listed here. Not important to remember. Only one that is important is actually if you want to know a few, I can just name the few important ones. Number one, Magadha, of course. This is the first, the big, very big country. And that is why people say the Buddha didn't speak Pali, the Buddha spoke Magadha. Okay? Kasi, not so, actually the significant ones. Magadha, all are significant, but of course the most significant ones, Magadha, Kosala, these are the big countries, big countries, big warring countries, always fighting on Kosala, Avanti, I don't know about Avanti, let me see what, Vaji, okay, Vaji, very important. Vaji is the Vajis lah, or the Vajan and all that. Later we will come lah. So when you hear about Vajis, they are from this country or this state lah. They're a small republic, okay, and of course the state of Mala, okay. Mala is where Kushinara is. That's where the Buddha passed away. The Buddha passed away in Mala at Kushinara. Kushinara is the capital of Mala, okay. Vaishali is the capital of Vaji time. So these few countries later you will hear a lot of stories about these few countries Magadha, Kosala. I think there's about 4 Vajis and Mala. The rest all maybe if you do further historical research, of course these are all involved of course. Okay. So this is the idea There are 16 states last time, and these are the 16 states. Okay, King Bimbisara, we continue. Okay, we finish. Okay, King Bimbisara, we say was born in 543, died in 495. King Bimbisara, actually, there's a lot about him, Okay, number one, he gave the bamboo grove to the Buddha and the entourage of the Mahasangha. It is called Veluvana Royal Park, called the Bamboo Grove, Squirrel Sanctuary, Veluvana. Okay, so when you hear about Veluvana, we always chant this also. So this is the Royal Park. Okay, the Bamboo Grove, or we call it the Squirrel Sanctuary, which is given by King Bimbisara. Okay. Here, Sariputta, Mahamoggallana, Mahakassapa were converted and became senior disciples of the Buddha. All appeared in Veluvana, okay? Here in Rajagaha, Anathapindikasa visited his brother-in-law and met the Buddha. Later, he invited the Buddha to visit Savatthi and donated the Jetavani Anathapindikasa Arame. We always chant this one, the Bojanga Sutta. Veluvane Kalanda Kaniwape, okay? Okay, Veluvane is actually the Royal Park of the Squirrel Sanctuary, correct? The Bamboo Grove, Anathapindikata, Jetavani Anathapindikasa Arame, okay? So these are the 2 beautiful parks that the Buddha and his entourage spent. Many of the Vasas will spend in these 2 parks, okay? So any questions on this one, you just stop me, I'll just run through only, And then, what is this? Okay, who wants to guess what is this, Okay, never mind. If you don't guess, then I'll tell you this is just a picture, okay? You see, when the Buddha left home, remember we said that when the Buddha left home, he became an ascetic all by himself, but he is very intelligent, he went to look for a teacher, of course, He needed to find a teacher to guide him. So the first person that came to his mind is called Alara Kalama. Okay, Alara Kalama, first teacher sought by the Buddha. So with Alara Kalama, the Buddha achieved a high degree of mental concentration up to the realm of nothingness. Okay, not happy with such a level of achievement because he still did not bring him detachment, cessation of suffering, tranquility, enlightenment, and nibbana. The Buddha still is not satisfied to achieve that kind of high level of achievement, as high as his master Alara Kalama has achieved. Okay? So he says, no. He thinks that he can still go beyond. That this is not actually what he is looking for. He's looking for a solution to overcome suffering permanently. Okay? Not temporary, You go and meditate for a while, you overcome all your problems, but that is temporary. The Buddha wants to find a permanent solution, not temporary solution. When we are in trouble, you go and drink. Okay? That is a temporary solution. Correct? You mabuk, you forget everything. Correct? You wake up tomorrow morning, the problem still lies there. You still have the problem. It is only a temporary short relief. That is not good. Correct? You go and meditate, go away for 3 months. You meditate, yes. It brings you a lot of solace. Correct? But that is not Nibbana. That is a temporary solace only. So again, that is not true. That's not good. The Buddha wanted to find the permanent solution to overcome suffering. Okay? Not temporary. Okay? Live in your sanctuary, live in your temple, then shave myself bald, then I got no more problem at home. But that is temporary. Okay, I die, I will be reborn, and I continue my life journey again, born and reborn, old, grow old, fall sick, and die. So that's not what the Buddha wanted. Okay? So Alara Kalama offered him to lead the team together, but the ascetic Gautama was not interested. So Alara Kalama was very happy with the Buddha's progress. They both achieved the same concentration up to the realm of nothingness, the Arupa Loka. But the Buddha is still not satisfied. The Buddha knows that this is temporary. He's not satisfied because these solutions are temporary. He wants to look for a permanent solution to overcome suffering. That's the meaning of he's not satisfied. Correct? Not because of his ambition, He wants to make sure that he has found a solution. He knows you go to the Arupa realm. Yes, for a while you are very nice. For a while means Arupa realm maybe billions of years ago, but eventually he will still come back, be reborn. Correct? So these are not permanent solution. Wherever you go, it is not permanent. So the Buddha is not happy with that. Okay? Then Alakarama was happy with the Buddha's progress, told him now we take over all these followers, we manage them together, we share. The Buddha says no, because the Buddha says he left to continue with his search. He searched for the answers for why do I, being subject to birth, why do I, being subject to decay, why do I, subject to disease, and finally I have to die? Why? So that is his solution. That is what he's looking for. The subject of suffering and death. He wants to know, understand, and overcome the subject of birth and death permanently, not temporarily. So he's not too satisfied. Then he went to seek for this is his second master. Okay. So the second master is called Udaka Ramaputta. Okay. Udaka Ramaputta is also a very renowned teacher that time. So he left Alara Kalama to join his second teacher, Udaka Ramaputta. Here he achieved the rank of neither perception nor non-perception. These are all Arupa realm, the 4 top Arupa realm. Okay, they reach up to that level. He told the teacher of his attainment, Udaka Ramaputta was surprised and happy with Samana. Sometimes we call him Samana Gautama, recluse Gautama. So Udaka Ramaputta was surprised and happy with Samana Gautama's achievement. So Ramaputta offered him to lead the whole congregation and ethic, but he still refused. He said, okay, now you have achieved such a high level already, you are my equal. I rest now, I go and retire, you take over my storage. The Buddha says no. Because the Brahmaputta declared that there's nothing beyond this. Samana Gautama felt that there is still part of the samsaric cycle world and still subject to death and suffering. So you see, wherever you go, whichever realm you go, you're still subjected to life and death. That is what the Buddha doesn't want. The Buddha wants to overcome the suffering of life and death. Okay? Then he went on his own. No, after that, since the teachers cannot help him any further, he left on his own. And like we said earlier, during those times, there were many people who were practicing austere practice of complete abstinence from food. They completely don't want to eat anything. Why? Because they think that the body is the cause of all our suffering. So they torture this body, torture it, and they think that eventually they will be enlightened. They cannot be enlightened because of this body. This body is a big burden. This body is the cause of all their suffering. So they torture this body, they refuse to eat. And the Buddha did exactly what they did. And this is how the Buddha like. I've seen a video clip recently. I do not know. Maybe I can send you all to see. There is still this practice in India, they got one man who is as thin as this, It is on a video clip. He was thin as this, stomach is as deep as this, but he has no strength, very weak line. So this is still being practiced. They call this self-mortification, abstinence from food. They think that when you abstain yourself, torture this body, you can become enlightened. So the Buddha did exactly what the rest were doing, and this is what the Buddha did. And that is why the Buddha, you see, sometimes you see image of the Buddha, he's like that. Remember? That is because he was practicing this posterior kind of practice. Okay? So he did this and he tortured himself. He fainted, 2 or 3 times he fainted, and he got up. Then eventually one day when he fainted, he got up. Then our Sujata gave him the milk rice. Remember the milk rice story, We won't go into details. Then they offered milk rice to him. He decided that he should eat in moderation. When the body is weak, the mind also is weak. Correct? When he was torturing himself like that, and they only eat 1 or 2 grains of rice a day, So he realized that this kind of abstinence, this kind of self-mortification does not help. It weakens your body. This body is needed to support your mind. Right? Without this body, the mind also becomes very weak. When the body is weak, the mind is weak. So there is no cultivation. He realized that he thinks that it is wrong. So he changed into his own way and he took food in moderation. And he took a bit of the porridge, okay, the milk porridge. And when he took that milk porridge, these 5 friends of his left him. 1, 2, 3, 4 only here. I think I cannot see the 5th one. Here 1 more 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When Buddha, when Prince Siddhartha decided to eat a bit, all the 5 friends deserted him. They said that he has given up his search for enlightenment. This prince tak boleh pakai on, they say, because he tak boleh tahan lapar, So they left him. They went to practice on their own. Then the Buddha took a bit. The story goes like that lah. Sujata offered the Buddha with the golden alms bowl. Sujata offered to the Buddha a golden alms bowl because Sujata was kind of, she was married. She comes from a very, very rich family. But she's married, but she got no children. So she went to the tree and vowed this tree that the Buddha sitting lah. He says that if I can have a baby, I will come and serve you food lah. When my baby is born, when I'm after my confinement, I must serve you this food lah. So that was the vow he made lah. She made. So eventually she got a baby lah. When she got a baby, then one day her maid saw that the Buddha was sitting under the tree now. So they all have the impression that, the tree deity is now down in person, waiting for the food. Where is my food you promised? Correct? No? So the maid went to tell Sujata quickly, hey, the tree deity is there now. I saw it in person. Sujata quickly cooked and then offered Prince Siddhartha there. They did not know he was Prince Siddhartha in a golden bowl. Offered to him and left lah. Okay. So the Buddha, after eating, went to wash the bowl at the river. And then the Buddha, these are all the stories lah. Huh? Okay, but you have to explain to me what is the meaning lah. So the Buddha went to the river, washed the bowl, and placed the bowl there. And then he said, if this bowl were to flow up against the current, I will be enlightened. Okay? If not, I will not be enlightened. That was what he said. So now he put the bowl exactly at the river after washing. He says, if this bowl flows up against the current, okay, I will be enlightened. And they put the bowl there, and the bowl really flowed upwards, upwards and onwards, So the bowl actually flowed upwards, not downwards. Then he knew that he can be enlightened. Okay. Now, let somebody try to explain what do you mean by the bowl can flow up means he can be enlightened. What you can see from there lah? Symbolizes. These are all, but it has its significance lah. The bowl will flow up against the current, then I will be enlightened. What do you think is the significance? What do you think is the meaning behind it? What do you think?
I've heard of it before. Forget already.
You forgot already, eh? Okay, never mind. Who wants to try to guess what do you mean by the bowl flow up against the current? Kim Chu, you know, try.
I've also forgotten about it.
Okay. Okay, who else want to try? Sister Catherine? Catherine, anything? Okay, so who else want to guess quickly? David, Hyok?
Okay.
Huh?
No idea.
Okay. What it means is the Buddha's teaching is going against tradition. Right? Right or not?
Yeah.
It goes against the current. Not easy to go against the current. Not easy to go against the tradition. Huh? The practices then, remember, self-mortification, correct? Or too much indulgent sensual pleasures, too much of this Brahmanic practice, too much of this pantang larang, too much of all these kind of things, That is what the Buddha was against. Okay? So for the Buddha to succeed, he will have to go against all these kind of traditions. Correct? It is like the bowl flowing against the current. If the bowl can flow against the current, then the Buddha can succeed. Correct? Meaning the Buddha's teaching will be against all the traditions and the teachings, the Brahmanic teachings of those days. And that's the only way that he can succeed. He has to go against all these teachings, and that's why his teachings are all different. Okay? So that is what it symbolizes. What it says is that if his teachings are definitely all against the Brahmanic teachings, against the common practices on that during that day, it is completely new. So it won't be easy to succeed. But if this bowl can flow against the current, then my teaching will go against. So I will succeed. That's what it meant. Okay? Correct?
Mhm.
Kan?
Yes, yes. I can recall.
Okay. now it rings the bell. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm.
So that's what it means. You can do that. And,
Class.
okay. Okay, so we have done to that part.
But Brother Leng Huat,
Ah,
what when Lord Buddha said like that, that means that time he
Ah.
was as if he was not confident. Is it that he will succeed because he has to go against all those the Brahmins, the other teacher teaching against the norm.
yes,
So
he's going
as
against the norm. Yes.
as if he was not confident that time. Was he confident?
At that time, he has not found the truth yet. He says that if this can go up, then I can find the teaching. Then, of course, he was already semi kind of educated already, because they have gone through a lot of teachings. So he was saying that if this bowl can go against the current, which meaning that his teachings are against the current practices.
The norm.
If this bowl can go against, then his teachings will be successful. Not that he got no confidence, but this is really a storyline the meaning of behind the stories But anyway, like I said,
He has to work hard
yes, he has to work very hard to succeed in short to go against the traditions of those days is not easy Right? There are so many teachers You see, during the time of the Buddha, there were 62 teachers, 62 known teachers, well-known teachers, Of course, in the books, we only focus on the 6 main teachers, but there were 62 teachings at that time. Okay? And among the 62, 6 were very prominent, 6 were more popular. And the Buddha's teaching was against all these teachings. So not easy, that's why he says, it won't be easy, but if this can happen, then he can succeed. Okay, sister? Okay. So he went to Uruvela and settled at the banks of river Neranjara. He met his 5 friends and joined them to study under Pahita Seva. You know all this now, right? They are right on this. Okay. Then our practice, I told you, they take 1 grain of rice per day. His body grew weaker and weaker. Okay, I've covered this, I've covered this. Okay. Okay, we have covered this. Now we go to, so now at the verge of him, when he was about to be enlightened, correct? At the verge of his enlightenment, Mara sent the 3 daughters, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you see, in the final days before his enlightenment, the Buddha was tempted by the demon Mara. Mara sent his armies various temptations, and finally, as depicted here, a challenge that the Buddha must defend his claims of enlightenment. The Buddha touched the earth and called the earth to witness his achievement. This touching the earth, his hands here, you can see his hands very long. He says touching the earth is seen as a significant gesture. Mara can also be misunderstood not only as a figure in a story. Okay, so Mara sent his 3 daughters first. Mara sent the three daughters. The three daughters' name is Kama. That's called sensual pleasures. Arati, aversion or dislike. Arouses strong feeling. Where the three daughters Kama, Arati, and Kama, Arati, and the three daughters to the Buddha. Okay, they went in front of the Buddha. They start dancing. And then to lure the Buddha. So they're telling the Buddha that life is more than just la can enjoy yourself lah, you know. So what does three daughters symbolize lah? These three daughters' name is Arati. If I go by heart, I may be able to remember it by heart. Okay, Arati. Okay, so from these three daughters, what can you explain lah? What can you explain about Mara's three daughter lah? Which is about sensual pleasures, which is about thirst and aversion. Okay? Kama, Arati, and Kupi Pasa. This is all long A. Kupi Pasa. Okay. These three daughters, actually, for us lah, sometimes we say that this is the Buddha's greed, the Buddha's hatred, and his delusion. Okay? Or you put it as his sensual pleasures lah. Greed means his sensual pleasures, you know. Okay. Now, this is actually he's internally fighting with his own sensual pleasures lah. Correct not? Where he was still struggling, he overcome and give up that sensual pleasures. He has to go overcome that aversion of disliking people. He has to overcome eventually the hatred. Correct? Hatred, greed, hatred, and delusion. You know, and the delusion. So these three daughters of Mara, actually, sometimes we say is a personification of greed, you know, okay, or hatred and delusion. Okay, which actually here it says that it is sensual pleasures, and its aversion, correct? Arouses strong feeling, okay? And Kupipasa is actually greed. Okay, Kupipasa is greed. Kupipasa is actually, okay, I think you can allow me to just change. Kupipasa would be thirst. Okay? Okay, so let me save this. The three things that are actually our great obstacles for us to advance spiritually, for us to achieve our spiritual progress, we must try to overcome our sensual pleasures. This is the meaning actually, not really the three girls came to dance. For us to now, you want to do meditation, you want to cultivate yourself. These sensual pleasures will be the one that will be distracting you. Because to sit for hours, your hips become very painful. You know, there's a lot of discomfort when you sit like that, a lot of discomfort. And you go to the forest when there's no light at night, you eat one meal a day, you eat what is there. So you become very, very, very uncomfortable. This is one of the biggest obstacles to our spiritual progress, which is called karma or sensual pleasures. And then the next thing is, of course, your dislike lah. You will dislike that condition, of course. When you're not comfortable thinking of your sensual pleasures, you want to have aircon room. This one is so hot, you see, so you begin to dislike this kind of thing. So this is aversion that is arousing in you lah. There'll be a lot of aversion. And the third one that is the main obstacles are actually your greed. This kupi pasa is actually thirst. That means
Pasa.
your craving lah, your craving. Thirst is symbol actualizes your craving lah. Huh? So this is, I think I better put also lah in case I forget next time. Okay. Also, I would say that this is your craving lah. Correct. So it is our craving and our dislike and our sensual pleasures. These are the three obstacles that will be actually, these are our three main obstacles for our spiritual progress. Okay. Not because of this girl dancing lah. These are only personification of our sensual pleasures, our aversion, and our thirst, our craving. Okay. I hope I put it correctly for you all. Okay. Okay, this is when he was enlightened. Apart from this, when this tree has failed, the story goes that when Mara sent the three daughters and they failed to arouse the Buddha, correct? That means Buddha's internal aversion, all that tak jadilah. Then Mara came riding on elephants and with a lot of soldiers and with spears and arrows shooting at him and all that lah. What does this symbolize? What do you think this symbolizes lah, you know? Then you see pictures where Mara is riding on the elephant, remember? And then also Mara will have his people with spears and arrows and all those things lah. So what does this tell you lah? Can somebody guess now? What will this tell us?
Is enlightened.
Okay. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet enlightened. These are his at the verge of enlightenment lah. So this distraction came lah. Okay, number one was his own internal distraction. You must completely give up your comfort, you know, your home comfort. You must completely give up, correct? And then you must also completely give up your aversion, your dislike, correct? And you must completely give up craving, okay? Then after that, we have got Mara coming. Mara didn't win this battle. Mara came on the elephant, and then all this army with spears throwing at the Buddha. This actually will symbolize that, yes, sometimes you have external distraction. Yes, in life also we do this external distraction. Some are psychological, some distraction are from your mind, correct? Are just your craving for sensual pleasures, your craving for comfort, your craving for all these things lah. But some of these distraction in life, like Mara coming and throwing spears, all these things, these are sometimes it personifies the external kind of obstruction. In life, we do face external threats sometimes, isn't it? We do have external people who are jealous of our success. They will, say bad things behind you. And so when the Buddha was doing this also, he has a lot of external challenges also lah. So what it says here is Mara's three daughter and this army are, one is our internal challenges, psychological challenges. Two is external challenges. Yes, we do face external challenges sometimes in life, right? Okay, I think we will stop there tonight. Where did I stop now tonight? Up to here, isn't it? So next week we'll go on enlightenment. We start on this enlightenment. Okay, Sister Sumitra. Okay, any questions on here? Okay, so next week we will touch on this enlightenment and then his journey each. Okay. I'm not sure how many lessons I can finish. One. Of course, this one can continue for life now, but we will stop at I think of the lesson 7, I think. And then we will start our new class for chanting. And then people like Devi and Ahyok all can join the Thursday group. We leave Wednesday for the newcomers. Of course, you can join the newcomers again. Okay, so anybody wants to ask anything quickly? Or was I going too fast? You can ask me to repeat, don't worry, anything, right? Okay. Okay, I'll stop the screen share first, and then we will chat a bit lah. Okay, we start chatting a bit lah. What you want to ask or things like that? Free discussion. You can ask anything now. You want to ask on Chigwe also can also.
Brother Tan,
Yeah.
Brother Tan, why is it when I Google the name of the daughters of
Para.
Mara is same as what? Tangha, Raga, Arati?
Okay. Okay. Tangha, Raga, Arati. Yes. Actually, there are actually sometimes I call them Muha also. Okay. Tangha means craving. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So in the three names I gave to you, it is called thirst.
Kama.
Thirst is
Thirst.
also craving, lah, isn't it?
Oh,
Okay, so thirst is also craving. That is called what? I don't know the long name lah. And then arati is sensual pleasures. Okay, what three you have? Then we match them. Okay, you have yes. Okay,
Tangha is a
that is thirst.
Tanha is that means Tanha is the Kupipas.
Kapi.
Pipasa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tanha.
Then
And then that means Kama is the Raga.
Sensual, sense desire.
Raga.
Okay.
Raga, that means sensual pleasure. Raga,
Yes.
R-A-G-A.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So
Okay.
Arati remain the same.
Arati lah. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Some books will use this, but I was actually incidentally referring to the Buddha and his teaching.
Okay.
The manual of Buddhism will give you these three names. Basically, like I've said, I don't really focus on the name. I always forget. What it does is it tells you about greed, hatred, delusion also can. You must overcome your greed, hatred, delusion. Correct? And your greed can be known as craving. Correct? Tangha. Correct? Tangha. Tangha can be greed, or tangha can be thirst lah. Your kapi is something lah. And the other word they use lah. That means thirst. They use thirst. Not your thirst. Okay, they use thirst as greed lah. It's possible lah. Then raga as of course. Raga is a very of course they say sensual pleasure, but raga is more of a sexual kind of craving, isn't it? Okay, so raga, so it's greed, hatred, and delusion. You're deluded actually.
Okay.
So the meaning of this tree, okay, never mind, but okay, I will put it this way lah. This tree symbolizes a psychological hindrance lah. Correct. It is not external. It's an internal craving. An internal craving. The thirst is craving. Tangha. Right? Our internal craving. And craving for what? Craving for a lot of sensual pleasures lah. We cannot tahan all this discomfort lah. Correct? At home we sit on cushions, but if you go to the forest, there's no cushions lah. So we have no aircon at home. You got fan. There you got no fan also lah. So things like that lah. So these are our psychological obstacles. So this tree symbolizes the psychological obstacles that the Buddha has to face first. Then after that, the external ones. Okay, there are external threats, of course, lah. Maybe you can have tigers coming, you can have wild animals, poisonous snakes, and then you can have robbers and thieves, things like that lah. And of course, people who dislike you lah. So these are the external threats that are actually real lah. These are the physical threats lah. So in life, there's always two threats. One psychological, one is actually physical. So okay, we must understand this way lah. All this story tells you that the Buddha also faces psychological hindrances or mental hindrances, and also physical. don't blame ourselves and say that, wow, we are so unlucky, people always disturb my work, all this, Buddha also has the same kind of obstacles in life. The Mara coming on the elephant, shooting arrows and throwing spears are all the external and physical kind of threat that he faced. Okay, sister?
Yeah. And another thing is like kind of, we Chinese celebrate this Qingbing, and then the Qingbing
Yeah.
and the second lunar month.
Qingbing is different, yeah. Seven moon is the Hungry Ghost month. Correct?
Mm,
Qingbing is where they go and clean the grave, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So your question?
So the question is, during those days, do they practice Qingbing as well?
In those days,
Yeah.
no, definitely not. You see, the Buddha actually, coming to all these traditions, I will put it this way, the Buddha only taught the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, and of course, the other supporting suttas for you to realize the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. Meaning, to overcome permanently the cause of suffering. Correct? So the Buddha's interest is to overcome the cause of suffering. Okay? Story goes that when Buddhism went to China, correct? Okay, the Buddha never say you must discard your culture and your cultural practices. Okay? So when Buddhism went to China, that was the time also of Lao Tzu and Confucius, isn't it?
Mm.
And Lao Tzu and Confucius taught a lot on filial piety, Correct? Gratitude, filial piety. These are the gist of Confucius teaching. And here you come, the Buddhist monks go there, talk about Four Noble Truth, Eightfold Path. Correct? So, of course, the locals may not agree. What, you are not teaching anything good, what? People are teaching about filial piety, how to respect the mother, how to respect the father, how to respect the deceased. Here you come, you monks, small Buddhist monks, talk only Four Noble Truth, Eightfold Path. So, of course, it became unpopular. It can become very unpopular because you have no proper teaching. But the Buddha's idea is not all this. The Buddha's idea is to teach you to overcome your suffering permanently. Right? Go to Nibbana. Don't worry about all this anymore. But when you go to certain places, you must assimilate their culture. Otherwise, you won't survive, isn't it? If the monks did not assimilate this culture, then we will not survive in China also. Because Confucius flourishing then, right? They are talking about filial piety, how to respect your mother, how to kowtow to your father, how to go and pray to your mother and father, what food to put, all kind of elaborate things, correct? They have got all kind of things to do, and here comes Buddhist, nothing, don't worry, So it will not be popular. You will be, I think you'll die natural death. So that's why the assimilation of this culture came into our practice. So then we assimilate a bit of this culture. So we put meaning into the culture. Okay, fine. You can go without culture. There's no problem at all. 100% perfectly good. We don't worry about all the Cheng Beng. Don't worry about the Hungry Ghost. This does not this does not help you spiritually. This does not help to advance you spiritually. Correct? So you can go without this completely. There's no problem. But because we are Chinese, like I said, if Buddha never said this kind of culture, so we put this into our small practice, but putting meaning into this practice. Number one, the seventh moon. We talk about gratitude. Remember? Seventh moon, we talk about gratitude. It's a month of gratitude. How to repay our forefathers, our parents who are no more with us. So what we do is yes, in the Tirukutta Sutta, they say you offer this food, you offer this food, you offer this food. But that is not complete. When you complete the whole sutta, the final thing the Buddha says, instead of placing this food onto all these altars, it's better if you can offer this food to the monks and dedicate the merit, to your deceased. In the Tirukutta Sutta, there was what King Bimbisara did, and his relatives benefited 100%. Correct? So we put meaning into this practice, so it becomes okay lah, we can do lah. But we must remember, if you don't do this to your parents, also never mind, don't worry. Correct? People cultivate, it doesn't help you in your spiritual cultivation lah. But indirectly, gratitude is a good practice. If you are a grateful person, the benefit of gratitude is when you are grateful, there's an antidote to what? To jealousy, Huh? Antidote to jealousy, gratefulness brings you a lot of joy. Because when your neighbors are successful, you are grateful, you are happy for them. Correct? And you make society a better place to live. Instead of having jealousy and fighting here and there, fighting here and there. So we become grateful people because gratefulness is also the root of all happiness. Correct? When you are a grateful person, you are a reliable person, you are a happy person. If you are not grateful, everything you want to cry and blame and cry and blame, that makes us a horrible person. So gratefulness helps the living also. So the month of Chengbeng is not only for the dead, it's also for the living lah. That's how I put it lah. Month of Chengbeng is also for the living, not only for the dead. We like to say it's only for the dead, but we must remember it is also for the living. Remember, it is also for the living lah. Okay?
Yep.
Because when
Thank
we
you.
practice gratefulness, we become happier. But the way to practice is, of course, eventually, like in the Tirukutta Sutta, the Buddha says there is no farming in hell, there is no banks in hell, there is no trading in hell, there's no exchange of gold in hell. You burn all the gold paper to your ancestors, even if they receive this lah. It has no value to them there. So there's no trading there. What can they buy? Correct. So all these gold paper just become the pillow only, so no point lah. So the Buddha says, don't do all this lah. Better to offer the food to the Mahasangha and then dedicate it to your loved ones. And that is our practice lah. But so for seventh moon, we can still practice like that lah. Put meaning into the practice. So also during the Chengbeng, again, once a year. You see, I've always said this lah. In our puja, okay, in the class now, I have how many people? I have only 11 people lah, minus the Sumitra, 2, I minus 1, 8 of us only lah. If I go to the temple at night, I have my puja. If I have 30 people, I am very, very, very happy. Okay? Most of the night, I get 11, 12 people. In the temple, in the temple. Correct? But on Vesak Day, you can have 5,000 people, coming to the temple, sometimes got 10,000 people. When we do the procession, in Malacca, we have a procession around town. There will be over 1,000 people lining the street. Correct? And these, we call them Vesak Buddhist, once a year Buddhist. Correct? At least we achieve something lah. Vesak Day, we open our temples, we decorate our temples. People come. At least we have once a year Buddhist lah, rather than zero Buddhist lah. So 5,000 will come. When you have Chengbeng, also 5,000 people will come and pai also. Correct? So you got 2 times a year Buddhist now. Correct? And then when you have your Chingui, also another 5,000 will come. So we got 3 times lah, not bad lah. At least we achieved something lah. So in a way, we are achieving something lah. In a way lah, we put meaning into it. because there are many people who are so busy making money lah. All are working people. They forget their ancestors. If not for Cheng Beng, many people will forget about their past relatives. They'll be working, making money. But when you have this kind of festival, it does bring meaning. It does have an effect on people. They remember, Cheng Beng, I better go to temple and just light 3 joysticks. So at least we have a chance to see once. The second time Buddhist one. And then again, Cheng Beng, Ching Gui, and Vesak 3 times. Chinese New Year, they come also. So we got 4 times. It's a year. Correct. So every time we have the occasion, it is not completely wasteful. For the living also. So Cheng Beng, I will discuss at the 7th moon, I will define it as the month of gratitude. Better. For us, we put meaning, we say it's a month of gratitude, whereby we must learn to offer any charity we do, not only to the monks, any charity we do in the name of our deceased, of our loved ones or no more with us. We are setting example for children to see also. Correct? So that one day when we are no more around, they become good people also. Not that we will enjoy this offering. We understand. We will not enjoy this offering. If my children don't come and buy me, I'm not working also. I don't need their food. Correct? We must understand. But it's good for them to come to express their gratitude. It makes them a better person. At least once a year, they remember their parents. At least once a year, they go to the temple. So it helps them to be a better person. So this kind of culture helps the living more than the dead. When I'm dead, they don't come, I'm also okay. Don't worry. I'm not at all interested in them coming. But I want them to come because that will remind them to be grateful. And gratefulness is the basic quality of a Buddhist. The Buddha says gratefulness, compassion, metta, these are all the qualities of a Buddhist. So if you don't have this quality, how to be a Buddhist? So we do this not because we are superstitious. Remember, not because we are superstitious, not because, you do this, your family will prosper. No. The sort of thing we erase, we don't want. But we do this for our children to see that we are grateful to our parents and we remember them. This is the teaching. Why I still want to respect my parents? Because when my parents were alive, they did that they showed that respect to their parents. And when we were young, we followed them. They were being all kind of fight to the ancestors, Correct? So we learn from them. So at the same time, we will share this with our children. So this
I think
culture
I think
is
it's more bringing unity to the family also,
yes,
because
of course.
after the pai kind of everybody will come to the
Correct.
ancestral home, and they will eat together, bring the food that the
Yes.
ancestors, you know.
Agreed. 100% true. Yes. There is another benefit that at least we get together more than once a year Chinese New Year we get together. Cheng Beng we get together. 7 Moon we get together. If we can birthday also get together. If you can anniversary also get together. You see, so that means your family can remain intact So this culture has a lot of benefits. Chinese culture is always very beautiful. Even the Indian culture is also always very beautiful. The Buddha never asked us to discard our culture. But don't be too superstitious about the culture. Don't think this culture brings you a permanent happiness. No, correct? Culture does not bring you salvation. We agree. But it does help the living. It does for the living life. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, sister. Anything else yang tambah lagi? Boleh tambah lagi, tambah.
Say good night already.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Getting there, though. Okay, so let us just conclude. Thank you very much again for attending this course. And we must thank Sister Sumitra. She is the one behind all this. I am only using my voice to share with you all, but the person who is actually behind all this Wednesday program will be Sister Sumitra. So we must thank her. Sumitra, thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yeah. So we will just do our dedication of Maurice now, sisters. I don't see any brother with us, huh? So sisters, we have spent about 1 hour 45 minutes on discussing on the life of the Buddha and also discussing on our traditions and our culture. And I'm sure during such time, our mind stayed very focused. And also we have learned a few things and it will benefit us. And when your mind stays focused, like we said just now, when your mind is focused, it's free from these three poisons called the greed, hatred, and delusion. Uh, and when your mind is free from greed, hatred, and delusion, even for a short while, we accrue abundance of merit. And these merits we already dedicate to our respective devas, and particularly during this month of the seventh moon, we dedicate to all our ancestors also. All these merits we have received, and we dedicate to them, and we hope that they will rejoice in these merits and they will attain the bliss of Nirvana. And also, we hope that these the ancestors of ours, if they need these merits to help them in their spiritual well-being, may these merits reach them and help them in their spiritual well-being. And may the devas rejoice in this merits and shower unto us their choices, and they shower unto us their protection. Bless us with good health, longevity, success, happiness, prosperity, and above all, wisdom. Wisdom to continue to walk this path. Our aspiration, as always, may we be blessed with company of the good and the wise always. May we be blessed with good friends and good teachers who can walk, who can guide us along the path of the Dhamma until we reach our final liberation, Nirvana. Etavata cham hehi sampatang punya sampadang sape deva sape santa sape bhuta anumodantu sapa sampati sitya idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hotu nyatayo idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hotu nyatayo idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hotu nyatayo imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana patiya. Sadhu,
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 sadhu, sadhu.
sadhu.